هيتكلف المشروع هيتكلف تقريبا 360 مليار جنيه خلال سنتين. هيتعمل طبقا لأقصى المعايير العلمية والتكنولوجية والفنية في كل شيء.
Well, to shed more light on the conference of the Cairo 5th Water Week, we have the pleasure to have this phono with Dr. Omar Al-Dahan, Professor of Sustainable Development. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Well, Doctor, could you give us your insight concerning the significance of holding the Cairo 5th Water Week in Egypt?
Well, obviously, it's a very significant event. I mean, the fact that it has been so successful and it has grown in the way that it has,
yes,
and people are more and more recognizing the importance of water, and also, you know, being the talks in the heart of Cairo to talk about these critical issues is a very big deal and a very big progress that we've made.
Yes. Doctor, how do you see also the fact that over 1,000 participants are representing around 70 countries, and 66 international organizations are taking part in that event?
Well, it shows that water is a very interconnected issue. I mean, you can't talk about water individually. I mean, even when you look at Egypt, you know, what is the source of our water? It's the Nile, and how many countries pass by that the Nile passes through and has an impact on our sources of water. And then this is an issue that can affect many different places globally, because it affects food, it affects aspects of energy, it affects, you know, political issues. So this idea of water cannot be solved and addressed by one single country. And then especially considering Egypt's role and importance in these kinds of things, especially, you know, with the upcoming COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, you can see that Egypt is taking a bigger role and leading these issues on sustainability and water and moving towards addressing these issues in the future.
Yes. Dr. Dahan, what is the main aim of the conference?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yes. What are the goals of the conference?
Yes. Well, part of the goals of the conference is to be a kind of like introduction or precursor to COP27. We're setting, you know, the kind of groundwork to try to see what are the challenges that Egypt and the world is facing. How does water and climate change, how do they intersect? How is climate change affecting the access to water and affecting water scarcity, not just in Egypt, but around the world? And start looking into these challenges and seeing how it can be addressed by these different countries, by these different companies, and hopefully set this kind of groundwork that can be further talked about and addressed and discussed at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yes, Dr. Dahan, the annual event and this conference aim also to spread spread awareness on water issues and also to promote innovation to face the most pressing water challenges. How do you view the importance of this?
Well, the solution to these water challenges cannot be just addressed with existing technologies and existing methods. Although some existing methods are very important, we need to find new innovations, new techniques, new ways to address water scarcity, to address desalination, to address the energy and, you know, other requirements in order to create and produce water, to save water. So we need constant innovations at every scale, at the small scale, medium scale, macro scale, in order to really start addressing this issue in addition to using the existing methods. So yes, encouraging innovation, encouraging new business models, encouraging new ideas is going to be critical if we want to address these problems of water scarcity in the world.
Yes, Doctor, how would the conference also help in exchanging innovative ideas and solutions in order to improve the sustainable management of water resources?
Well, as we said, water isn't an individual issue. You can't look at water problems of just in Egypt or just in Africa or just in Europe or something along these lines, and that each country and each area and each culture has come up with interesting and innovative ideas and solutions for addressing water, whether it's in water desalination or water treatment or reducing usage of water or recycling water, and many of these different innovations. And we can see this in a series of projects and funded by different areas and different regions in Europe, in Egypt, in Africa, in the Middle East, collecting rainwater, reusing water, using it for agriculture, using it for trees and other different things. So making these kinds of connections and seeing the innovations that other places have come from is critical, and this cooperation can result in making use of these different ideas as well as not reinventing the wheel every time. So obviously this is going to be critical.
Yes, Doctor, also the EU delegation to Egypt have said in a statement that renowned water experts share the latest developments in global water sector trends during the conference session. How do you assess this?
Well, we can see that we do have actually some incredible experts. I mean, not least of which is Professor Heini Swelam, the current Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources, all of which who have made addressing the issues of water at the forefront of their minds and their issues, and providing these experts with the forum, the area, and the resources and the ability to address these issues is going to be something that we need to do if we want to address the water. So yes, inviting these experts and different experts from different areas, from more arid regions and desert regions to places that have less issues with water scarcity, and bringing them all together is really an incredible accomplishment, and hopefully we'll see the results of it too.
Yes. So this edition of the conference focuses on the water security and climate change. So what is the impact of the joint international action in order to measure these issues?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part?
Yes. I was asking you, sir, that one of the aims or the themes of the conference, this edition conference, is titled, includes water security and climate change. So my question, what is the impact of the joint international action in order to manage these issues?
Yeah. So as we said before, climate change and water are very closely related.
Yes.
In fact, a major part of water scarcity is caused by climate change due to shifting weather patterns, increased drought, increasing of arid regions, flooding in other regions, and many different problems such as these. And we're even starting to feel that here in Egypt. So understanding the interrelation between climate change and water scarcity is important, because just as with the different countries, we cannot just address water scarcity on its own. Water is related to energy. Water is related to climate change. Water is related to food. Water is related to climate change. And looking at it through a more holistic manner, you can see that we need to address each of these individual elements, but we need to address them together in order to find a sustainable and clear solution. Whereas if you try to address only one issue on itself, it will create another problem in another field.
Yes. Yes. So, Doctor, how do you see the Cairo Fifth Water Week as one of the preparatory conferences preparing the stage for the COP27, which is going to take place in next November in Sharm el-Sheikh?
Well, this relates to what I was talking about the interconnection between the different issues.
Yes.
Because, Cairo, as we said, the water is very highly related to climate change. So making this as laying the groundwork, setting up the stage and the challenges that Egypt and the world faces in water, leading into COP27, which will be discussing all of the issues of climate change, is very critical, especially that water is becoming really the big critical issue that many countries in the world are suddenly facing and need to address. So this is really a great introduction onto the topic, and it will start a lot of conversations and a lot of discussions that hopefully will lead into COP27 when we can talk about climate change in a more broader scope, in addition to the different issues that climate change will might possibly affect in the future.
Yes, Doctor, the conference gathers representatives of UN agencies and regional organizations and also water experts from public and private institutions. So my question is, how could this support the key policies, strategies and plans to counter climate water challenges?
The bringing together all of these agencies is important because they are how we're going to address climate change from these different aspects. As we said, it can't be alone. When you bring in, for example, banks, you need to consider that their role in financing different initiatives is going to be very important in addressing water and climate change. When you bring in, for example, educational institutions, the way that they teach the people, the students, and everything is going to be critical in developing the skilled labor and the skilled people to address water and climate change in the future. When you bring in all the different governmental entities, when you the developmental entities, entrepreneurship, all of these different things, when you bring them together, each one of them has a role to play. So bringing them all into one place allows each of them to discuss their and can contribute towards addressing both water issues, climate change issues, and other related issues, rather than having each one addressing it in a separate and kind of on its own. It's bringing them together to have that discussion on how they can all collaborate together for a more effective response.
Yes, Dr. Dehan, Egypt has drawn up a strategy for its water resources that would extend through until the year 2050. So would you shed more light on this strategy?
Well, this is, also, relates to, of course, the Egyptian vision for 2030. For sustainable development, and this kind of continues and builds on that idea. Yes. As we need to start looking at water resources, not just in terms of our immediate needs, but very long-term in the future. Yes. One of the reasons for this is that when you look at, the Nile, for example, is a renewable source of water, so it's not going to run out. But we also rely on groundwater, which can run out. So the problem is that if we continue to use this water in an unsustainable way, at some point we won't be able to use all of that groundwater. So looking at it from this perspective, we need to take a look that is, tens of years in the future. What will happen to our water resources, and when these resources deplete, how will we replace them? Or perhaps even better yet, how can we ensure that we don't deplete these resources and ensure sustainable usage? So looking at these things from a much broader and much longer-term view is critical to ensuring that Egypt has a sustainable water strategy working decades into the future.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Also, thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Omar Dehan, Professor of Sustainable Development. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone, ladies and gentlemen. A short break and I'm going to be back with you.
مصر فيها 100 مليون، مصر كمان مساحتها 1,000,000 كيلومتر مربع. بس في حجم ضخم جدا من الأراضي احنا مش عايشين عليه. ما خدناش بالنا على مدى 60-70 سنة فاتوا إن الكلام ده هيبقى ليه تأثير كبير جدا وخطير على حياتنا ومستقبلنا. لكن احنا مش سايبين